Everybody, Father Bob here at the South Campus Show with my friend Arlo here, and Matt Udermann, who is Carver County Commissioner. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
Welcome. Matt, I'd like to ask, so where'd you grow up?
Yeah. So I'm a Cedar Rapids, Iowa kid, and when I ran for office, people are like, well, you're not even from here, and that's unique, right? Most of the people that serve in public office have been here for 4, 5, 6 generations. So my time in Cedar Rapids, I had my own lawn care company. I went to school at Mount Mercy College, the third of our family to go through there. Okay. And in the time there, I always make the joke, I got accounting minor, but I didn't get a major. I used to clip a $1 bill to my accounting test. And I said, if I'm a few cents off, this ought to cover it. But what I didn't realize was covering me is my oldest sister went through smartest in her class. And so they looked at 2 different Udermanns. I said she got all the brains, and my other sister got all the flexibility. I was left with the work ethic. So after Iowa, I went out east, and then I came to
I was going to say the good luck.
That's
whatever,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, so what brought you out to the Twin Cities?
Yeah, so after I left Cedar Rapids, I had an opportunity to go work out east in Albany, New York, upstate. I manage all the energy for all the psychiatric centers in the state of New York, which is very super interesting. And while I was there, I went to grad school, and there was a girl that lured me back to the Midwest, but I didn't really want to be in my hometown. Worked for Maytag for a year, and then there was an opportunity to come up here, and I had a chance to go work for Best Buy Corporate.
Okay. So you've been up in the Twin Cities how long?
About 15 years in Chaska, and then another couple years in Eden Prairie. So we're creeping up on 20 years.
Yeah. That makes you local.
Yeah.
I'd say,
Yeah.
How about you? Tell me about your family.
Yeah, so anybody that knows me knows my family's the light of my life. We've got this month in August, we'll have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old. Tenley's 4. She brings the spunk factor, and she's so fun and goofy. And Brooklyn's our 8-year-old. We just had a chance to be in Brooklyn, New York on her namesake, and she's an adventurer, and she's in softball, and she's super smart and inquisitive. And then my wife, she's been a lifelong Chaska resident, Krista. So we're coming up on 10 years.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah. I like the way you describe your kids.
Yeah.
You love them both, each very different.
Yeah.
What drew you to run for office? How'd that come about?
Well, like a lot of things, if somebody asks you to do something, you're flattered and you kind of dismiss it. And then the second time you get asked, you're like, well, I got to think about this. And then the third time you get asked in a very short period of time, you got to do something with it. And so honestly, I didn't even know what a Carver County Commissioner was 5 years ago. And when I started to ask around, I think we've got a lot of long-term leaders that are here, but I brought something that was a little bit different. I wasn't from this area. I would have been the only one elected that didn't have kids in the school district. And I have a penchant for business and curiosity. And so I thought if those things were enough to have people ask me, I'd consider it. Threw my $50 in and gave it a go. And I think a lot of people were surprised when I came out with a positive campaign. People will remember the You Matter signs. Of course, my name is in the name Matter, but we ran a positive campaign. We talked about some of the differences and how we might do things a little bit different, and it resonated because I think the last mailer that we sent out was it's time for different ideas at the table. And so the voters were kind enough to give me their vote and give me a piece of their mind on a regular basis, and we're trying to work hard for them at the county level to make a difference here in Carver County.
Beautiful. So say a bit about the role of the Office of County Commissioner.
Yeah.
Responsibilities, what are they?
I was recently speaking to a group of folks that have moved into a new development, and I said by a show of hands, how many people know what a Carver County Commissioner does? Not a single person raised their hand.
That's why I'm asking the question.
And I said, how many people know who their county commissioner is? And I said, no show of hands. I said, we've just taken care of that. I'm Matt Udermann, I'm your commissioner. But really people don't know. It's a hidden form of government. We have about a $70 million levy. That's the culmination of all the property taxes that you pay. A third of it goes to the county, roughly, about a third school district and a third to city. And then we get roughly another half of that through state and federal dollars, through fees, through grants and other things. And so this year is a unique year. We're in the midst of the most robust decade of road construction project of our history. We'll be over $100 million of projects this year, another $100 million of the following year. And so that's a big chunk of what we do is road construction projects. Another big chunk is health and human services. People that live in the shadows of life that you might not know you're interacting with on a regular basis, but it can range from placing somebody in foster care to the need for their next meal to connect them to mental health resources. We have a county attorney's office that handles things from prints to custody cases and other things that go on. We have a county sheriff's office, and we're unique in Carver County that the sheriff's office polices everything in the county with the exception of Chaska, which has their own police station. And then we do parks and libraries. Those are non-statutory things, but they're highly beloved in our community. So when you go to Lake Waconia, Lake Minnewaska, or Baylor, those are parks, trails, and lakes that we manage as a county. And then we plow the roads. Our standard is to get the roads plowed within eight hours of a big snowfall, and we deliver it exceptionally well. And there's some other pieces in there, but that's the gist of what we do at the county level.
Wow, that's enough to keep you busy.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you find most rewarding in your work as a county commissioner?
People ask, do I like the gig? And I say 94% of the time, I love it. And everybody wants to know about the 6%. And so what's rewarding is I think that we're in the midst of the next 20 years shapes the next 200 years for our county. And you can see it visually as 212 goes 4-lane. People never thought 212 would get done. People never thought in our lifetime we'd see 212 go to 4-lane, but it opens up what used to be way the heck out there in Chaska. People are finding Carver County as a place that's not too far from the airport. It's not too far from different jobs. Specifically as it relates to the physical infrastructure is 212 and Highway 5. But you know what really gets me excited too is the social infrastructure, is how people get in community together. And we know that Carver and Victoria will be the two largest cities in Carver County in the not so distant future if the Met Council is accurate. And so what does it mean for the social infrastructure of the new people that are coming here? In the next 10 years, half of Carver County will be first generation to live here. You're probably seeing it in your parish. You're certainly seeing it at the restaurants. You're seeing it in our schools. I often say a marker in time. 20-some years ago, when Bob Ripke was the mayor of Chaska, there was less than 2% of people that were people of color that didn't look like you or me. My incoming kindergartner, first or second grader, 35% of the class looks different. And that brings different beliefs. That brings different cultures. And we have to make room for that in a productive way. And we get to determine as leaders within this community what the Carver County way is. We know it's always been rooted in farm. We know it's always been rooted in hard work. We know it's been rooted in neighboring well and community. How do we translate that to the next generation so that we can continue to have the Carver County way that people know and love here, that they feel when they're in your presence?
I like the way you kind of assimilate the change that's happening and make it work for all, the common good and so forth. How about, every work has challenges. What do you find for you? Maybe that's the 6% you were talking about, and maybe challenges can be energizing too, of course. But
I don't know if the story's going to get written or not, but I had a Star Tribune reporter call and say, what's the urban or suburban rural divide look like now? And as we plan for 2045 or 2050, and we look into that crystal ball, one of those markers is real. As I've talked to farmers in the rural community, is 35 years ago, we had 1,200 farms that had cows. Now we have 25 to 30. And you look at the landscape that's changing. You look at, we talked to a major farmer recently over lunch, and he said, you know what, that 400-acre family farm with, 50 head of cattle isn't sustainable anymore. It's the big conglomerate farmers that are buying stuff up. And so I think the biggest challenge is that rub of this is how it's always been, and we know that in 20 years it's not going to be just like that. So how do we capture the good things and honor the past, all the while look to the future? And I'll give you a specific example of a way that we've taken this on. Is the county board is given direction to be the first county in the state with 100% fiber broadband. Now that hits somebody that lives in the city a little different than it hits somebody in the rural. We're used to it. We're used to high-speed internet Wi-Fi. But if you're the 2,500 houses there in the rural community, you don't have that luxury. And you think about the gaps of connectivity and all the things that means, whether it's telehealth, whether it's communications, whether it's entertainment, all those things we can bridge that divide.
And really, I've learned a lot about the work you do, the good work you do, about the county, the opportunities, the challenges. All of this reminds me a little bit of my work. We're looking to the future always. And final, piercingly important question. Give me a read on the Vikings this year. How are they going to do?
Man, we talked about it in our interview. If you want to flip over to my social, you'll be able to see it too.
I get to ask you. So
Absolutely. They're going to go all the way. You can put $100 on Vegas on it, right? Maybe we'll build the future based on it. I don't know. I watched the quarterback thing on Netflix with Kirk Cousins, and I think the showstopper was his wife. Yeah. And so we're going to head out to training camp later this week with the kids, and maybe they'll get a better read on it. And if you're a Packers fan, you know what? I think you're welcome in Carver County and in this parish. You just have to sit in the back pew, right?
It'll be an interesting game, the Packers and the Vikes.
Yeah.
It always is. It's
Yeah.
fun. Matt, really good having you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thanks for all you do for the community, not just for your parish, but for the community.
Well, thank you, and likewise for what you're doing in your role as county commissioner. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week, all right? God bless. Take care.